Hi everyone, so we're working on trying to get more videos out. I'm really trying to work on it, but as someone who is creating content based around relationships, I think it's fair for me to open up my heart, open up the space and energy to speak on my very imperfect but perfect relationship. And the reason that it is perfect is because it is imperfect, and those imperfections are very tailor-made to me and my partner, and how we've grown and navigated and detoxed certain behavioral traits that are not conducive to long-term relationships in the covenant that is our kind of unity as a partnership. The first thing that I'm going to say is been my biggest step of growth in my relationship is that when it started, I was a person who would have all these rules about what I should and shouldn't do and blah, blah, blah. And they were all based and shaped not only off of negative experiences, but also based on society. And when I would hear, especially like female teachers and, people who, and especially women who were talking about the feminine and ultimately unleashing what you would call the feminine, is all their decisions are based on their own desires. And I would shape all my actions and behaviours of what is right and wrong, what I should and shouldn't do, and all these kind of rules, regulations that cause this like emotional distress. I'm gonna say distress because I was always at war with myself. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? And the whole thing about the feminine and about a woman being able to honor and accept herself, because I think I was a woman who spent a lot of energy in not accepting who I was, not accepting my own consciousness and how my witness wanted to really just live out this life without that distress. And live through the essence of peace, was just like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do and not be at war with it. Like, actually just be my own friend. Yeah. How that manifested, now don't get me wrong, relationships, that it's not just your energy that you are going to be navigating in a relationship. There's also someone else's energy. So I spent a part of my time in my relationship navigating based on how he was behaving. And when he would be good, I would be yay, yay, yay. Like, I would be open and receptive and all of this. And when he would be bad, I would shut down. And that, like, I understood it wasn't an unconscious shutdown, it was a conscious shutdown. And this is the whole thing about the feminine. The feminine is all about the unconscious, yeah? The unconscious, like doing what comes without thought, yeah? That's the whole concept of unconscious, is doing what you're doing without thought. And what was sitting in my unconscious was without thought, but I still want to love. Yeah, I still want to love, I still want to open, but I was still at war with that because he's doing this. And I ended up at the start of our relationship very disconnected, because I wasn't being my true whole essence, because I was basing myself and my own actions on how is he navigating, how is he doing this, and how is he doing that. And all my decisions were based on him, yeah? Whereas that is placing someone else in the center of your being. And that is the opposite of what you should be doing as a woman. What you should be doing as a woman is, I need to place myself within the center to navigate how I want to behave. It's like, he will lead the vessel that is our relationship, but he doesn't lead me inside of me. I lead me inside of me. And I think we have a lot of like the whole concept of relationships misconstrued, because the man leads the material. I lead the spiritual, and my spiritual center needs to feel whole and connected to me. But what I was doing is disengaging my spiritual by going, oh, well, I'm not going to act like this if you're acting like this, and blah, blah. And then there was this internal war that would manifest outside of me in our relationship because of my ability to base what society says I should be doing based on X, Y, Z's. But society doesn't live in my vessel. I live in my vessel. So I should lead my how I want to behave, yeah? How I want to behave and how I do behave, yeah? And stay very grounded and divinely connected to myself. The other thing is, you need to work out like your non-negotiables, but you have to be really honest with your non-negotiables with yourself. You can't bring in society's non-negotiables. You have to listen to your own. What can you not take? Like, and you have to really be able to witness your emotions. And this was hard. Like this, when I say this was hard for me, because one thing that I would say, no, this is a non-negotiable, and blah, blah. And listen, let me just put a disclaimer. Do not use this information. Like, this is me just sharing my own journey. This is not me taking leadership over your relationship or your life, because I'm telling you, like, I'm just telling you my own personal breakthroughs. If it helps, then great. But also, you are the only leader of your life. It's you. You are the only person. Like, no one should be placed above you when it comes to your life other than the creator itself. Yeah. So I forgot my point. Oh, the non-negotiables. So non-negotiables can shift. They can change. Yeah, they can change depending on your capacity to love. They can change dependent on how you are experiencing life circumstantially. Your non-negotiables can shift, and I think it's really, really important to tap in with yourself regularly and go, what are these non-negotiables? And then also taking into account your partner and how well you know your partner and how you actually connect and get through things. That's is vitally important. The next thing, bringing divine into anything will give you the strength and the love and the capacity to love through anything. And I don't mean just in a relationship. You have to bring divine into everything. Like, you have to. Like, when I am really struggling with things, I will sit and pray. When me and my partner are having troubles, like, I'll sit down at night before I go to bed and try to release it through prayer. But also, like, ultimately, that's your opportunity to cultivate a relationship with the divine. And your romantic relationships are this like divine covenant that you can cultivate this beautiful relationship with the divine through not only your really great parts where you're saying, do you know what, I'm super grateful, and it ultimately helps bring divinity into your unity, your union. This for me has strengthened my relationship with God. And it makes me just so grateful for my partner that I get this opportunity to have this direct communication with God through the happenstances of my own relationship. The next thing, and actually let's bring that back real quick. And I know this is all over the place, but it's my relationship and it's so, without divulging too much, you do need to bring divinity into everything. Whatever you believe your divinity is, you have to have a relationship with it. You have to allow the consciousness of what is deemed good and divine to lead you and to keep yourself in check. Because this is one thing I do massively in my own relationship, is keep myself in check. Keep myself in check. Where am I in my ego? Where am I where can I have a deeper capacity to love, but I have a blockage there? Where can I communicate that blockage? And it's all about, instead of going into my partner's making me feel this, I'm feeling this, and how can I communicate with my partner from a place of not a non-violent place. Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it, a non-violent place. So you're taking violence out of your romantic relationship in terms of how you communicate. It's vitally important, because nothing is conducive. Because what I realized with me and my partner is, when we first got together, we had all our stuff. And when we got together, all our stuff was coming up. I had negative behavioral patterns. He had negative behavioral patterns. But you have to ultimately make a decision that, and this is really hard as well, is like, I had already cultivated a relationship with the divine before I had met him. And the divine had been speaking to me in direct communication with me like years before this. And it's based on that I was able to sit there and go, do you know what? We kind of knew, I'm an astrologer. I know I've got a difficult chart when it comes to relationships. I know I've gone through some stuff and I have some self-protective mechanisms that were really like hampering relationships, not only on a romantic capacity, but also in every capacity. And that's where I had to really sit there and go, well, it's not everyone else's problem, it's actually my problem. Where am I not communicating my fears and worries, and how are they manifesting in a way that people are translating me differently to how I actually am? And that's where I took accountability and went, okay, where do I need to take my ego out of it? Where is my ego getting in my own way? Where is my mountain of myself standing in my own way? That was really important for me to start sitting there and going, okay, well, I've reflected this behavior and I know that's not conducive to the relationship that I desire. That's actually taking me further away from the relationship that I desire and giving me more work than actually going, oh, where can I expand? Where can I see it differently? And instead of looking at my partner differently or me taking this stance of myself, I can be open and be formless, because one of the biggest spiritual lessons that I also had to learn was become formless. Sticking to one form and then saying, this is who I am. But I can be like, the divine is, and the feminine, actually, the divine, but also the feminine is basically unboundless potential. Yeah. So if I can be unboundless potential and understand that my personal personality is shaped from my circumstances, then ultimately my personality can also be shaped in such a way that it's welcoming the experiences that my soul desires. Yeah. Because that's what you have to talk about. It's like the soul and the desires, and being able to understand and going, how can I be the vessel that welcomes this experience? And where have I been the vessel that rejects this experience? Yeah, so being formless in terms of your response to life. Because I have to be because everything can sound very contradictory, so I really need to be conscious in how I'm communicating it. But being formless in your response to life, yeah? It's in your response. Now, what vibration do I want my response to be sitting at? Do I want my response to be sitting at the vibration of love? Do I want my response to be sitting at the vibration of anything but love? Like, I know I feel better in love. I know I feel better about life in love. I know I feel better about my partner in love. I know I feel better about everything in love. Like, and I feel weightless and light. So it's like, okay, so if I feel that way, yeah, and I can connect to the soul in terms of like what my soul desires and how it wants to evolve and how it wants to grow, then ultimately, and this is what it says in the Bhagavad Gita, is your personality can be shaped in a way that welcomes the experience that the soul desires. So that's what I did. if I want to love this man, yeah, and I love this man, like that's the whole concept. It's like, I love this man, but I actively want to love him too. It's not just, oh, I love you, but let me just act and behave in such a way that doesn't even translate any of that love, but let me actively show you that in how I respond to you, change the game. And that's why I also understand that ultimately the appreciation and the gratefulness that I even have for him and his energy, for him to even create the space for me to connect to that breakthrough. Oh, to me, he is a king. Yeah, to me, he will always be a king, because he literally gets me to tap into deeper reservoirs of my own love. He just creates the safety for that, even when on a human level, because this is the next and last thing, on a human level we can go, oh, this is this and this is that. Now, when we're in an emotional state, we are in what you would call a human state. But when we are neutral and witness to what's actually going on, we are tapped into our divinity, our witness state, our ability to be conscious and aware and to be able to communicate the actual soul instead of just communicating a feeling. So there's feeling and then there's gnosis. Yeah, gnosis, which is the knowing, which is the divinity, which is the witness that has no emotional attachment to what's happening, just wants to communicate. That's the real feminine. That's a real masculine. When we tap into that, that's who we actually are. But when we're navigating through emotions, it is energy, emotion that we are processing, and once the emotion is gone, it doesn't have a hold on who we actually are. So it can change, which means it's not actually us. And once I understood that, it's like I learned to communicate with my partner. This is my soul talking to you. This is not the emotion. This is how the knowing that exists within me. And I understand also when I'm having like a human reaction, there's nothing wrong with human reactions, and I'm not trying to create anyone to have a negative relationship to their human responses, but we have to be able to what's the word? Differentiate. Is that it? Differentiate. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Differentiate. I'm really saying it wrong, but you get my vibe. We have to be able to understand what's going on with the two. Because I know, depending on how I'm feeling, because feelings change, that I can be 20 women in one, depending on the feeling that I'm expressing. Am I expressing a childlike feeling? Am I expressing a sensual feeling? Am I expressing sadness? Am I expressing anger? Am I expressing happiness? Depending on what I'm feeling, I shift. But underneath that, there is the witness. I prefer to connect from my witness state because it's who I actually am, yeah? My feelings are based on my circumstances outside of me, yeah? Which I always, and don't get me wrong, it's like a monk told me once, your body is a car, your emotions are the gas, your logic is the steering wheel. We need all of them to be able to move forward, but in fact, the feelings are the fuel. They are the fuel, but they're just tools to get you along the way. But you are the driver and the witness sitting within the car. The witness never changes, but you can change the fuel. You can change the elements of the car. Like things can be, but we are supposed to not identify these things as ourselves. We should actually really connect to the gnosis that we have within us, which is the true divine feminine. The true divine feminine who sits within, who sits in the dark space to be greeted and awakened from within, that you connect to her. You don't connect to the emotional responses, because the emotional responses are just going, okay, I'm feeling like this. Let me try and work out why I'm feeling like this, and then I can communicate that with you. And let me move through with logic. And this is how we get the masculine and the feminine to be in matrimony, which is ultimately, once you tackle that journey within yourself, you're able to kind of bring that lesson outside of you and use that in your connection, use that in. And the last thing is also, I'm a woman who loves to read. I'm a woman who is always seeking knowledge. And what I realized years ago is I'm very independent when it comes to that, and I don't necessarily want to be led when it comes to my knowledge. I want divine to lead me. And I really struggled with that, because it's like, oh, I'm looking for a provider and a protector and blah, blah, blah. The divinity leads me on my spiritual journey. And I would prefer my partner to also be led in his, and we come into union in it. I think a woman shouldn't necessarily just assume that her man has to lead her in everything, because every woman is different. Now, me personally, I don't like to be led in certain areas. I'm very stubborn, yeah? And I have this all the time. So what I've understood is, where it's necessary to have my voice, I have my voice, because that's my boundary. That's what's the really hits home. That's my soul's connection. That's what got me here. So I honor it in that way. But also being open and allowing my man to suggest things to me in such a way that makes me think in different ways is how I surrender to him. So there are like caveats to everything in every interpersonal relationship, but there are all caveats within us. And I think it's not about listening to a to-do list of what to do online and how women should behave and how men should be behaving and how this and how that, but it's also really working out where you are as an individual, what you're comfortable with, and navigating something that's happy for you, that is a journey for you. Life is tailor-made for everyone's life experience is different. Where we can relate is we all experience the same emotions, and that's where we can connect. But the journeys that got us to experience the same emotions have all been different. So I think when it comes to relationships, there's no one fits all, and no journey and no life should, is a one fits all thing. So I think it's definitely, this is where it's more importantly to bring more of our own energy into the things that we make decisions on, because that's the one thing that's gone, okay, that's the thing that's made me learn. That's the thing that's made me evolve. That's the thing that's given me deeper capacity for love. And where my relationship is at the moment, and it's had its issues, yes, and it's like no relationship is meant to be perfect all the time, because you are not going to evolve and grow in perfection. You become, if anything, stagnant in perfection. Yeah, you become stuck in perfection. So we need imperfection to go on the road to perfection, so to speak. And perfection doesn't exist, by the way, also. Perfection doesn't exist. So we have to kind of shift this illusory idea of what we think our relationship should be, and just welcome something that's real and that hits home for us and connects to us on a soul level, not only in the really, really beautiful times, but also in there can be negative times. And how you get through them, how you connect is the foundation that you lay. And me and my partner have laid a really, really great foundation through that, and through navigating who I want to be and how I want to grow and what he provides to me. He is possibly one of the safest men I have ever met whilst being flawed. Yeah, I'm flawed, but he is a protector. He is a provider. He has grown and I'm so proud of him. I admire him. He makes my heart dance every time I see him. And he also does my head in. Like, he actually annoys me, but honestly, he's the love of my life. And he's the love of my life because of how much I've grown and how much like love he's shown me without trying to show me how much love I have to give him and how much love he has to give me. And it's honestly better than what I could have wrote on a manifestation list, because it's real. Like, it is genuinely real, and it's jagged on the edges, and I love the jagged parts more than everything else, because I'm jagged and I'm allowed to be jagged and I'm allowed to be imperfect, and he doesn't box me in, and he allows me to be free. And every different day there's a new version of me that pops out every day, and I've never felt this safe. And I don't want to get emotional because it's this is the internet. But I have never felt so safe to be nerdy Kim, teacher Kim, loving Kim, intimate Kim. Like, every like, he says that I am like the nerdiest, geekiest, gourmiest. Like, even my accent, I'm from Birmingham, and like, even that, like, he allows me to be safe in every insecurity that I've ever had. And that is the definition of safety. It's not even fit. Like, we always think, oh, he's a protector, or he'll protect me like physically. No, he protects me from myself. He protects me from myself. And that, I could only want that for every single woman on this planet. But he's also had to grow as well as I've had to grow. I've had to grow massively, but I've had to grow with my relationship with myself to get here, and vice versa. So don't let the relationship gurus tell you any different. It all starts with you. It all starts with your relationship with you. It all starts with your relationship with you. So I hope you enjoyed. I will share more if you want to hear more. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I really do like coming here, and yeah. So have a lovely day, and I'll see you later. Bye.